Hi friends, this is Steel Fairy, and today I'm going to be doing something new. I'm going to be showcasing a game called My Lady. My Lady. Fedora not included. Anyway, or is it a Trilby? Well, whatever. I have seen no information about this game, no reviews or Let's Plays or anything. I'm sure there's probably at least one Let's Play out there, but yeah, I bought this game on Steam months back when it was on sale, and I never got around to recording it. And I just recently had foot surgery done, so I'm not really going anywhere for a while, so I thought, hey, I'll record it. So let's start. Please tell us your name and the name of your butler. What is your name? Definitely not that. Oh wait, there we go. Steel Fairy. Excellent. Yes. Oh, okay. Butler's name. Should I go with Op Zero? Oh, no, I know what name to give him. Snivelingsworth. Yes. Yes. That's an inside joke that my friends and I have. Ah, yes. I bought this game because I knew it was a visual novel and I wanted to play a visual novel, but yeah. So here's some credits about the people who worked on this game. The music is very nice. I am enjoying it a lot. Okay. Yay, achievement unlocked. So yeah, I just wanted to try something new, showcasing short games and stuff. So yeah. Life's not fair, is it?
I'm not sure what you mean, ma'am.
Okay. It just isn't. I have riches and power. Hahaha, I have neither of those things. And practically everything I could possibly want. Also false. But I don't at the same time.
You're getting you're being silly, ma'am.
Okay. I love my hair. I wish I had hair like that in real life. This was my life. Whether I liked it or not, I was an heiress to a rich family. Yeah. Splendid, no? To many women, this would have been a dream come true, the perfect way to spend life. However, it wasn't as loving as one would think. Sophie, I'm being serious.
Of course you are. Of course you are. I'm not saying you aren't.
You said I was being silly.
But I never said not serious, ma'am, did I?
You...
Aha! See, ma'am, I know you're serious. You're just being silly.
Oh, boy. There you go again. So you're gonna treat me the way they treat women who thought this way back in the olden times, where they thought hysteria was just women disease thing? I don't know. Sophie was my personal maid, and despite her jokes, she was one of my best friends. She has been with me ever since I was a child and has cared for me like a sister ever since. She must be a lot older than you are then. Sophie has gotten me out of trouble so many times, even when I was at fault. It's a surprise that she deals with me.
Now, ma'am, don't get fussy. I was only fooling.
Still, I am right, you know. Life isn't fair.
Life is never fair, ma'am. It gives you lemons when you want to make orange juice. That's how the saying goes, right?
That's a good spin on it. It's when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, Sophie.
But what if I want orange juice?
Orange juice sucks. Too much pulp. That's exactly what I mean. It's not fair.
Oh, ma'am, you're not talking about him again, are you?
Of course I was. He was all I could think about. All I could talk about. No! I'm in love with Snivelingsworth! No! Oh my god, why? Snivelingsworth was charming and handsome, sophisticated and sweet. No, he's not. He's the exact opposite. He was practically everything I dreamed of in a man, yet despite him being always in arm's reach, he was as far away as could be. Oh my god. Guys, I'm in love with Snivelingsworth. Oh my god, Kel is going to be on the floor. He was devoted to being the perfect servant, even if that meant disobeying any romantic requests. I let out a sigh and looked to Sophie helplessly. I'm hungry, Sophie. And make yourself a goddamn sandwich. Got him, lazy.
There now, ma'am, those puppy eyes won't work on me. I already got you an extra tray of biscuit cookies for your morning tea.
Oh, yep, that sounds like me. Extra cookies with my tea. Me.
Don't warn like that. None of that now.
Sophie!
Ah, fine. I'll make you some fruit sandwiches and tea.
Yay! Yay, thank you.
Honestly, I spoil you.
You love me.
Yes, ma'am, I love you. I'll be right back.
Sophie left me alone in my room, giving me time to think about Snivelingsworth while I sat at my study desk. He was barely 3 years older than I was. No, he's not. Snivelingsworth is an old man. Yet he acted like a proper gentleman. The way he smiled practically made my legs weak. His voice made my heart sing in long, blissful arias of affection. I was in love with my butler, and I didn't care. The only problem was that he didn't love me back. Snivelingsworth was so invested in becoming the perfect servant that he denied any romantic gesture I threw his way. That was stated before. Good job, writers. The mere thought of the last failure made me slump in my chair. Life's not fair. Oh my god, would you please stop saying that? Suddenly, there was a knock at my door. I'm brooding, leave me. Who is it?
Hello, miss. May I come in?
Sure. My heart stopped. It was him, Snivelingsworth. It sounds nothing like him, too. I felt pure elation bubble in my chest. Come in, please. The door opened to reveal Snivelingsworth, standing at full attention for me with a tray covered in letters in his hand. He took a step into the room, closed the door behind him, and walked to the front of my desk. So I should probably explain Snivelingsworth and why I think it's so funny. Basically, my friends and I came up with this character one night when we were having a sleepover. Yes, I have a sleepover with my guy friends, because I'm weird. Anyway, so I don't know, at like 3 a.m. we get really silly, and we came up with this character named Snivelingsworth. And basically, he's a butler who, complains all the time, and, you know, is just like, woe is me, and blah blah blah. Snivelingsworth, hence the name. He snivels. But he does a hell of a job being a butler, even if he's, like, clumsy and stuff. And, like, the whole joke is, like, Snivelingsworth, you are the worst butler I've ever had, but you make a damn good pot of tea, or something like that. I don't know. I forget the exact joke, but we basically came up with an entire character named Snivelingsworth for no reason. And that's why this is so funny to me, because just the thought of being in love with Snivelingsworth is baffling.
My deepest apologies for the interruption, my lady, but I have some letters addressed to you. I came as quick as I received them.
Oh, thank you. Snivelingsworth gently placed the tray on my desk in front of me, revealing 3 letters. One had my family seal. One was pink and practically reeked of flowers, and the last letter was a plain envelope. Lazy. This is probably from a gal pal, so let's do that. I held my breath and opened the letter with my letter opener, taking out the letter parchment and reading the contents of the note. How many times can you say letter in a sentence? My dear Steel Fairy, my name is Isaac Newport. A guy sent this? Okay. I know that you do not know me, but I hope to know more about you soon. I am currently in town this weekend, and I would like to request your presence for tea. Please write back soon. Isaac. Well, I don't like you, Isaac, and I think you may have some, effeminate, tendencies, but free tea, so sure. Another damn suitor, ugh.
A suitor? I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with the Newport family.
Isaac, are you sure you're not trying to court Snivelingsworth? Did I care? I wasn't interested in courting, especially with a man I didn't even know. Besides, the man I wanted to court was in the room with me, and that had already proved to be a difficult challenge as it is. Blech. I sighed and placed my hands on the middle of the note, ready to tear it in two. However, Snivelingsworth stopped me.
Miss, I would suggest holding on to that note.
Yeah, free tea. What are you thinking, me? Huh? Why? I'm going to turn him down.
Still, if you were to visit, you'll have proven knowledge of who he is rather than forgetting the future.
But it smells bad. I sighed and placed the note in one of my drawers, to obviously be forgotten about later. I feel like this one's going to be important, so we'll do this. I opened the letter gently with my letter opener. Oh, God. It's basically the same sentence. Dear Steel Fairy, I will be returning home today from my business trip. Please make sure to clean yourself and dress properly for my arrival. We have much to discuss. Your mother. Wow, I have to dress up for my mom? Okay.
Your mother is returning. That's wonderful news.
No, it's not. My mother had been on a long business trip that lasted almost 2 weeks. Most likely, she would be staying for a couple days, then she would be off to another business trip that needed her attention. Oh, it's the rich kid who gets ignored plot. This was the norm with my mother, being that she single-handedly owned the estate. Okay, that requires business trips, apparently. I had to admit, it was lonely without her. However, when she was around, it was stressful. She demanded perfection out of me beyond anything, hoping that eventually I would become a perfect and proper young woman. I can relate. I had just turned 17. She was perfect when she turned the age of 13. I apparently had a long way to go. Yes, wonderful. Okay, save the best for last. I think. Blah blah blah. Okay. It was surprisingly pure white, despite being in a concealed envelope. I read the parchment's contents aloud. The lady exits the pumpkin carriage. Queen to Bishop K. K? What kind of joke was this? Who was K? What was this K getting at?
A riddle, perhaps?
I did save the best for last. Woohoo! A riddle for what? This must be a mistake. Who sent this? I looked to the envelope. I looked at the envelope for any indication of the sender, but the only thing on the envelope besides my address and name was a giant K wax seal on the corner. Odd. I sighed and slumped in my chair. My mother's returning, I have another damned suitor, and this letter riddle makes absolutely no sense. Today is starting off marvelously.
Is there anything I could do to make you happy, my lady?
Well, I feel that the riddle has something to do with that picture of the chess piece on the wall, but that's just me. Kiss me, Snivelingsworth! Snivelingsworth cleared his throat, making me grit my teeth in my closed
I'm
mouth.
afraid I cannot, my lady.
Why?
Because I am your butler, you are my lady, it would be improper.
I looked down at my desk. I wanted to protest, but after so many failures, I had practically given up trying to fight his stubbornness. I stood and walked around my desk, wanting some fresh air. Tell Sophie that... Whoa! Oh my god. I suddenly felt myself falling, my foot slipping out from underneath me. I quickly grabbed for something and tried to maintain my balance. What I didn't realize was that I had grabbed Snivelingsworth and had pulled him down over top of me. Ow,
My lady, are you all right?
This one seems more like me. I bit my lip. This was exactly what I wanted, but this was purely an accident. I was sure he would think this was planned. Are you okay, Snivelingsworth? I shouldn't have grabbed you.
I am, thank you.
To my surprise, he was blushing a little bit as well. I stared in shock. Was he as embarrassed as I was? I don't see any blush on those cheeks. The door opened again, forcing Snivelingsworth and me to look up towards it in shock.
Ma'am, I brought you... oh my.
This isn't what it looks like. Typical visual novel anime bullcrap. I blushed a deep red. To have him on top of me was one thing. To have Sophie see was another. Snivelingsworth quickly stood up and helped me get up, gently brushing us both off as Sophie bit her lip with a grin.
No worries, ma'am. I didn't say anything, I swear.
Well, I am in my underwear, so you know. I glared at Sophie, knowing she was stifling laughter. I looked to Snivelingsworth after sighing. Seriously, like, in the time period, what my character is wearing would totally be considered underwear. I'm pretty sure that's a corset as well. Don't know. I was shocked to see him blushing as much as I was. I stared as he closed his eyes and tried to take deep breaths. Was he flustered? I looked at Sophie, who looked ready to explode into laughter while holding my sandwiches and tea. Better put that tray down before you spill, honey.
Well, if you both will excuse me, I need to prepare lunch for Lady Beaumont's arrival.
Yay, I'm having a gal pal over. Oh wait, no, my mom. Shit. Snivelingsworth bowed to me quickly before exiting the room, closing the door behind him. At the sound of... Sophie, shut up. As the sound of his footsteps disappeared, Sophie burst into laughter.
What happened while I was away? Were you trying to seduce him again, ma'am?
Maybe. What? Sophie?
That was hilarious, ma'am.
Leave me alone. I glared at her once again, making her stop and bringing her laughter to a soft chuckle.
So, ma'am, I brought some sweet sandwiches and tea for you. Strawberries with a fresh hazelnut spread.
Wait, hazelnut. But strawberries. Oh well, thank you. They only did that hazelnut spread because Nutella's the new
My pleasure,
thing.
ma'am.
I sat back down at my desk and watched Sophie place down the plate of tea sandwiches and tea in front of me, over the tray Snivelingsworth had brought me.
Any fancy mail today, ma'am?
Yes. I received the strangest letter today.
Oh, what's up, ma'am?
It's like a riddle of some sort. The lady exits the pumpkin carriage.
Pumpkin carriage? Like in that Cinderella fairy tale?
I assume so. Then it says Queen to Bishop.
This fairy tale's now chess? What is this loony thinking?
There's a bishop right there on the wall behind me. Okay. I shook my head, unsure of how to answer. I didn't know myself. The letter was indeed odd, and if Sophie and Snivelingsworth couldn't figure it out, there was no way I was going to.
Well, that doesn't make a lick of sense if you ask me. Are you sure it wasn't the wrong address?
I took out the envelope to check once again. It didn't magically change, and it was still addressed to me. No, it was indeed addressed to me.
That's very strange, ma'am. Anything else?
Well, other than that... Well, my mother's coming home today.
So I heard! The kitchen hands are going crazy at the news!
They already know?
Of course! I Abby practically memorizes your mother's schedules, that strange kitchen woman.
That is true.
Anything else?
Nope. Ignoring the suitor, I sighed and enjoyed my snack. The tea was almost perfect. Almost perfect. That's right, if I had brewed it myself, it would be perfect because I am a master at brewing tea IRL. Like, seriously, I am obsessed with tea. It's kind of sad, but I have, like, I'd say 27 different flavors. Well, anyway, the tea was almost perfect, and the sandwiches were very sweet. But I appreciated Sophie's work. Despite it being a menial task, she did it with love.
So, Mum, what are you going to wear for your mother when she arrives?
The worst dress I own. I sat in silence for a moment, contemplating on what to wear. I had many outfits, but I wasn't about to put on a fashion display for my mother. Stopping my snack, I looked at Sophie in thought. I hate it when people say looked to. Like, no. The only time that's appropriate is when you say look to the sky or look to the stars or something like far away or future sight or whatever. I don't know. What dresses do you suggest?
Well, you could always wear the white one your mother bought from France. Then there's also the red one from Spain. That one looks good on you.
I'll go with white. I don't really look good in warm tones. Red or white? It was a simple choice, but I almost felt like laughing at the choice itself. Something about it was hilarious to me, and I couldn't put my finger on why. Okay, I don't quite get that one. I finally made up my mind and said,
Ooh, lovely choice, ma'am. Are you sure about the white one?
I'm sure. I mean, my mom did get it for me, so whatever. Sophie nodded and got out my white dress from the
Let's
closet.
get you cleaned up, ma'am. Then we'll get this dress on you.
Getting into dresses was a tiring process. First, I had to clean, using an unnecessary large bath to wash in. Then I had to be dried, which required both me and Sophie to do it in a reasonable amount of time. After that, I had to powder and put on my underclothes, which included a corset. Sophie, you're trying to kill me.
Just a little more, ma'am. Your mother would kill us both if we don't do this right.
Corsets were a pain. I like corsets. But then again, I am a goth, and goths like corsets. Well, no, not all of them do, but I do. Then we finally got to put the dress on. It was easy to slip on, and it only took Sophie a minute to tie it up to fit me perfectly. That dress isn't really the best. I stood in front of my large vanity mirror, checking out my dress. I smiled at my choice. It was a lovely dress with lace and ribbons. I dared to think that I looked like an angel in it. Sophie quickly found a white ribbon and tied it into my hair. I don't really like all the ribbons going down the bustle, but it is what it is.
You look so lovely, ma'am. I'm jealous.
Thank you, Sophie. You're the best. Sophie smiled and bowed to me graciously. I turned back to the mirror and stared at myself a little longer, wondering what Snivelingsworth would think of it. It wasn't sexy, but it was still elegant and mature. The sound of horses made me quickly look away from the mirror and look at my window. Yay! They used it right for once! I rushed over and looked out to see a large carriage stopping in front of the house.
Who is that? I don't recognize the carriage.
I don't either. I stared at the carriage a while longer, unable to tear my eyes away. Who was visiting us, and today of all days? The door of the carriage opened, and out stepped a handsome man looking to be around my age. He was dressed in a casual suit with brushed hair and an anxious smile. As per his protocol, Snivelingsworth stepped out of the mansion and greeted him. They spoke to each other briefly before Snivelingsworth escorted him inside. What did this man want? I sighed and exited my room with Sophie close behind. I felt the obligation to greet him creep into my gut, so I followed it all the way to the main lobby. Ooh, nice green suit. I stepped into the lobby to see the man and Snivelingsworth conversing with one another. At the sound of my footsteps, however, they stopped and looked at me. Snivelingsworth seemed surprised at my outfit. Did he like it? I looked at him and gently tilted my head in confusion. Snivelingsworth quickly shook his head and cleared his throat. Sophie stifled another giggle.
Mr. Newport, may I introduce the current lady of the house, Miss Beaumont.
Oh my god! So this is the guy who sent the letter. Okay. No. I am not dating him because there is no way he should send the letter inviting me to come to tea at his place and then show up unannounced without even waiting for a response from me. That is a huge no. That's... No. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. As I was introduced, I climbed down the steps of the grand staircase. I reached the bottom and walked over to where the two men were awaiting me with Sophie 2 steps behind me.
Oh, wow. Allow me to say you look absolutely stunning, Miss Beaumont.
Allow me to say that you sound exactly like my butler. Thank you, Mr. Newport. I presume according... What? Okay.
Yes, Isaac Newport. It's a pleasure to finally meet you at last.
He held out a hand, wanting me to place mine in it. Did I want to? My mother wasn't around, so I didn't necessarily have to be polite to that extent. No, this guy is a major creep zone, so no thanks. Simply nod. Thank you. I'm not one for human contact on first meeting anyway. Isaac stared for a second before smiling gently and pulling his hand away from me politely. Might I ask why you are here? Yeah, please do, because you invited me. I did not invite you into my house, so bye.
Oh, well, I was in town and I was passing by your estate, so I decided to come by and possibly meet you. Obviously, it was a good choice.
No, it was not a good choice. You leave. I see. Well, I'm afraid I usually deal with scheduled meetings, so I'm not sure that I can entertain you. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, no, I wasn't insinuating anything of the sort. I merely wished to stop by and meet you, that's all.
Ah, I understand. Well, since you did stop by, allow me to offer you some tea, which you invited me to, but didn't wait for a response. I'm sorry, I'm being so passive-aggressive to this character who doesn't even exist. I looked back over my shoulder at Sophie, who quickly nodded and stepped forward ahead of me towards Isaac.
Would you follow me to the drawing room, please? I'll prepare some tea and bring it as soon as it's ready.
Thank you so much.
I bit my tongue. Sophie was definitely a great actress around guests. Sophie and Isaac walked away towards the drawing room, leaving Snivelingsworth and me alone. I let out a sigh.
Is something troubling you, my lady?
Yes. No, I'm just surprised, is all. Snivelingsworth nodded, standing at the ready for any instruction I had. I looked in the direction of the drawing room and bit my lip. I didn't want to sit in there with him, especially if my mother was coming home today. Snivelingsworth, please make him leave before my mom comes, please. Who knows what she would think?
My lady, if I may speak my mind.
I turned to look at Snivelingsworth. Oh, go ahead.
You look absolutely stunning in that dress.
Ooh. You said that with an inflection that makes me think you want me. I stared, suddenly turning red in the face at his compliment. He thought I looked stunning. Actually, I do look very good in white, which is weird because I have a very pale complexion, so you would think it would make me look like a ghost, but no, I look like glowy almost. It's awesome! I love wearing white. I looked... I guess that's okay. I looked to the ground, unable to reply back. Snivelingsworth cleared his throat and stood back at attention, awaiting for me, okay, to either give him orders or leave. Just my luck, however. I turned my head to the front door. That's okay. Hearing another set of horses. Snivelingsworth, please check who has arrived. Oh, I know it's gonna be my mom.
Yes, my lady.
I know it's gonna be my mom. Snivelingsworth quickly walked over and opened the door to see
Your
outside.
mother has returned.
No! I felt my heart stop. Was my luck just terrible today? Snivelingsworth quickly exited the front doors to assist my mother out of her carriage. I stood, knowing that my mother would want me to be at the lobby waiting for her. I felt frozen, unsure of how to explain the second carriage to my mother, who was very quickly on her way inside. It was a suitor, but I didn't want her to get the wrong idea. Oh no. Oh, she's wearing the bitchy clothes of this time period. You know how some girls have, like, resting bitch face? Well, these clothes are the equivalent. At last, my mother stepped into the lobby with Snivelingsworth carrying her bags almost effortlessly behind her.
Ah, there you are. Punctual as expected.
Really? I'm always late for everything. My mother quickly stepped up to me and looked me up and down. I waited to see how she would respond. I wore white instead of red. Surely she would be happy.
No mistakes or loose flaps of cloth. Good.
Yay! I smiled at my mother. I did appreciate when I made her proud enough not to lecture me.
Now, can you explain to me why there's another carriage in the front?
I had to be calm. She had to understand that I was not interested in a suitor, nor did I invite him. You're 17, so normally a mother would be very happy that a suitor has arrived at this age because you're getting to be a little old, honey. Isaac Newport wanted to visit today, Mother. He was in town and decided to stop by.
And where is he?
In the drawing room, Mother.
I have no time for guests. I have much to do, and I won't have you entertaining guests without me.
My mother turned her head to Snivelingsworth.
Escort him out.
Okay, I guess my mom doesn't want to marry me off to a rich suitor. Okay.
Yes, madam.
That's a little unorthodox. Snivelingsworth gently placed my mother's luggage down away from the door and quickly left for the drawing room.
Now, have you been keeping up with your studies?
Definitely. Yes, Mother.
Have you been practicing the piano?
Actually, I'm more into wind instruments. Sorry. Yes, Mother.
Perfecting your handwriting?
Getting there. Yes, Mother.
Good. Then we can discuss.
And she was about to finish her statement. Oh, as she was about to finish her statement, Isaac and Snivelingsworth entered the lobby, walking towards the exit. Isaac stopped and bowed to my mother.
Oh, hello, Lady Beaumont. It is a pleasure to meet you.
It is a pleasure to meet you too, Mr. Newport. I'm afraid we have some business to attend to, so we cannot entertain you today. Feel free to stop by tomorrow.
I understand perfectly, ma'am. Please, have a good day.
Isaac bowed to my mother before smiling at me.
And a good day to you too, Miss Beaumont.
With that, he left and exited the mansion, with Snivelingsworth closing the door for him.
Mr. Newport, you say?
Yes, Mother.
He looked to be your age. Was he a suitor?
I'm not a liar. I'm sorry, I hate lying to people, so I'll take the punishment. I couldn't lie to her. She knew how to see through lies. My mother stared at me in thought before walking past me towards the drawing room. I sighed and followed suit. We entered the drawing room where Sophie was cleaning the tea Isaac was previously having.
Leave the tea. Bring new cups.
Yes, madame.
I like the way you think. Sophie quickly left the room with the used cup Isaac had, leaving me and my mother alone. My mother sat down, waiting for me to sit across from her in the empty seat. I quickly obeyed her silent command to do so, looking at her. Well, I guess looking to her kind of makes sense in this context because she's like looking up to her, maybe? I don't know. And sitting up as properly as I could.
How old are you now?
17, Mother.
17 and still unmarried.
Thank you!
What's mine to do with you?
That's what I was saying, and you freaking chased the guy out. This is your fault. I mean, I didn't want to be with him anyway because he seemed a little too forward, but I mean, this is your fault, Mom. I bit my tongue. I knew better than to speak back to my mother when she talked like that. She had been hoping one day I would marry, but it was becoming futile.
Anyways, I will be staying here for a couple of days
Anyways?
to deal with some in-town business. I expect you to entertain Mr. Newport properly should he return. This goes for any suitor, understand?
Yeah, they wouldn't say anyways in this time period. Yes, Mother.
The dinner schedules will be upheld as I am here. If you are not at dinner during the scheduled time, you will not eat. Understand?
Yes, Mother.
Good.
She's so controlling. My mother was strict, but for a good reason. No, not for a good reason. She wanted me to be a perfect lady, suitable for marriage and upholding a family. If I was a toe out of line, I would be lectured until I regretted ever disobeying. Yeah, that's called being controlling. We drank tea, barely speaking to each other, before I was dismissed back to my room. I quickly stood, bowed, and left. Sophie followed behind, 2 steps away from me. Yeesh. As I entered my room, I slumped and let out a tired sigh. So Mother's here. Wonderful.
Oh, come now, ma'am, you should be happy.
I walked to my bed and sat down, feeling exhaustion take over my body like a gust of wind. I thought of the suitor. He was polite, but was he really? He seemed young and bright, and it still seemed like a good idea to try and be with him. It would indeed make my mother happy. On the other hand, I still liked Snivelingsworth. He kept me enthralled in his spell, and I didn't know how to proceed with him. Mother would never approve, but I couldn't deny my feelings so easily. Been there. I looked to my window. Yeah, that makes sense. I looked to my window. Life's not fair, is it? Oh God, back to this.
You keep saying that, miss. If you keep looking at it like that, you'll never get oranges.
But what can I do? My eyes traveled down, wanting to land in my lap. However, my gaze stopped at an envelope stuck in the window. Huh? What's this? I stood and walked to the window, taking out the envelope and opening it. I took out the parchment and read it aloud. The girl puts on the red hood. Bishop to King. K. Ah. So I have to put on the red dress now, perhaps. Again, another riddle? What was going on?
A riddle? The glass slipper bit talks about Little Red Riding Hood, but the second part talks about chess again.
What glass slipper? I think the writer screwed up here. This makes no sense.
Ooh, maybe it's a sign. Someone's telling you to,
I don't think so, Sophie. Was I sure no? Though, this note and the last were connected somehow, but I didn't want to blindly follow their messages. I guess I'll just wait for another one. If another one appears, I'll try to sort this out. Something in my gut was telling me that these messages were meant to tell me what to do. Were they about Isaac? Or were they about Snivelingsworth? Typo. I felt tired just thinking about it. I gently fell back onto my bed, uncaring if my dress was still on, and let my eyes close naturally. I cannot read. I was doing so well at the beginning.
You?
Shh.
Okay, Mom. Have a good rest.
Oh my God. My character is me right here because I always fall asleep in my clothes. I'm terrible at that. I forget to change into night clothes before going to bed. Not all the time. Sometimes I remember, but generally I'm bad about that. I listened as Sophie left the room, leaving me alone. I kept my eyes shut, letting my exhaustion take hold of me and bring me to a world of sleep. I didn't mind that the corset binding me limited my breath. I mean, I at least would take the corset off. I felt at peace resting in my bed. I didn't even open my eyes until hours later when the sun was down. I sat up, wincing at the squeeze my corset had on me. I looked around and realized that, now that the stars and night sky were out, I had missed dinner. Welp! Ugh, I missed eating. What am I going to do? As I asked myself that question, I looked at my desk, where a plate covered with a small tray cover sat. Aw. I stood and walked over, opening it to reveal a plate of food. Sophie. I will have to thank her when she returns. I smiled and was about to sit to eat, but something in the window caught my eye. Huh? I walked over and peered out the window to see Snivelingsworth walking around the house away from my window. Creepy! Snivelingsworth? It was odd for him to be outside this late, let alone at all. He never really went outside unless someone needed to be escorted in. Why was he outside now? I quickly rushed to my dresser, but before I touched the knob, I stopped and stared at my hand. Was this a good idea? Sneaking out late at night to see what my butler was doing? I bit my lip, remembering the note I had received before I fell asleep. The girl puts on the red hood. Was this what the note was talking about? No, It was silly to believe, but it was almost frightening how accurate it was to the situation I was about to go into. Now I was unsure. Should I follow? Yes. Let's get some plot going. I nodded to myself. I want to know. I took the knob and opened the dresser, taking out my night shawl and covering my shoulders with it. I closed the drawer and quickly sneaked out of my room. Snuck is not a word, people. It was quiet in the house, which both irked me and made me feel relieved. As long as I remained quiet, I'd not be found. I quickly tiptoed my way to the front, opened the door, and sneaked out towards the direction Snivelingsworth was headed. The gravel underneath my shoes cracked and shuffled, making me wince with each step. I didn't want him to find out that I was following him and watching. Well, I didn't succeed.
My lady?
Milady. I froze, staring at the corner I was about to turn. Wait, what? Staring at the corner I was about to turn? Okay. How did he know it was me?
I know it's you. Come on out.
I peeked around the corner to see him carrying a lantern and staring in my direction. How did you know it was me?
I can recognize your perfume and powder, my lady.
Dang it. Right. Stop wearing the same fragrance all the time, God. There was no use in sneaking. I quickly walked over to him and looked up at his dimly lit face, unsure of what to say now that I was caught.
My lady, you shouldn't be out this late.
Neither should you. I'm sorry, I just woke up and...
There's no excuse, my lady. Come, we must get you back inside.
I couldn't even fight back. I was quickly taken back to my room without question. Well, that next morning I was dressed by Sophie and brought before Isaac. To my surprise, my mother had arranged a marriage between him and me. What? Snivelingsworth stood at my mother's side, watching as I was proposed to by Isaac. I had to say yes. My mother's eyes forced me to say yes. At last, my mother received the marriage for me that she wanted. I was finally going to be a woman. I thought you become a woman when you... Yeah, okay. I looked to Snivelingsworth, knowing that my romantic advances no longer would happen now that I was to be a wife. Don't get me wrong, Isaac was a good man. He just didn't give me that urgency to pursue his love, probably because he has effeminate tendencies. Our marriage was a business arrangement, one my mother perfected and desired. My life was full of lemons, ready for lemonade, but they are too bland to sell. Sad day. Ending. The lady locks the girl in her tower. Queen takes bishop. Dang. Welp, I got a bad ending, it seems. Let me know if you want to see more of this game, and I will try for different endings. But, yeah, that was pretty interesting. I definitely liked the fact that, my butler was named Snivelingsworth and I was in love with him. So, yeah. I may do more of this in the future, but it was an interesting showcase, and I will do more showcases of games in the future. Until next time! Bye.